So one of the things I found really fascinating about you, which I did not know, um, and I can't find any visual proof of this either, but I have seen you mention it, and I want to ask about it. Was did you open for Prince in Australia? Is that what I
Yes.
read? Okay. All right. I want to know everything. How did he find out about you?
Well, so that was like 2012, I believe. And I was just at home and I got a call from my manager and he was saying that it looked like Prince wanted to work together. And I was just like, what in the world? How is this possibly true? And he said he wasn't even sure. So he had to do some digging. And after a while, he called back and said, yeah, it looks totally legit. And so he wanted to fly me up to Minneapolis to meet up and, talk and maybe play some
Was
stuff
this at
together.
Paisley Park?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So, flew up there and they do with a limo, a little sign, Mr. Mckee or whatever. And, jump in there and look at the Country Inn and Suites in Chanhassen. And I met the drummer who was John Blackwell and the bassist who was Ida Nielsen. And kind of, said, hey, what's up? Went up to my room. And then there was a phone call in my room, pick it up. And it's like, Mr. Mckee, yes, this is Prince. I was like, what? This is insane. What? So he's like, you ready to come on by Paisley Park? I was sure. Okay. He said, we'll head down to the lobby and we'll pick you up. And so I jump in this car with John and Ida. And I remember John was kind of like, you good enough? And he's like kind of like intimidating a little bit. I was like, I don't know. I'm just here to play guitar. So, got over to Paisley Park and went in and we went into the studio and he took me into like a little recording booth with Prince and was just asking me like a few questions, if I had control of all the rights to my music. And it's like, yeah, he was really concerned about that. Yeah, it's good. And just want to know a little bit more about me. And then, chatted with John and Ina a bit too. And I played a bit of my solo acoustic stuff, and then we played ping pong and he was like incredible at it. Like, it's like unbelievable. It was like an Olympic level ping pong player as well as being Prince. It's just like, what? So, he'd asked me what else I was up to that year. And I said, I'm actually, that year was really crazy because I had an opportunity to open for Dream Theater in Asia that year. So I was like, oh, then it was like April or May. I was going to be over there in Asia with Dream Theater. And I was like, but after that, I don't have too many plans lined up yet. So he's like, all right. And, flew back home. And next thing I know, he's booked like these 9 concerts in Australia right after the Dream Theater tour in Asia. So I was like, holy cow, I guess this is really going down. And, flew back up there and did some rehearsals with the band. And we came up with like a medley of about 4 or 5 tunes, I think. And we're kind of set to go and do that, So I was just going to kind of be a special guest that would come up, towards the end of the show or something and play with the band. I was like, oh, cool. This is a cool way to kind of get into this, I guess. We'll see what happens. And I had like one more show in Thailand with Dream Theater, and I got an email, and it was saying like we'd like Mr. Mckee to open the show as well. I was like, holy cow, cool! And they were, and there was like you could tell Prince wrote the paragraph or two because it was like he would use the number 2 instead of the word 2.
No, get out of here! Yeah. What?
Yeah, I know. I had to look it up. I looked it up the other day. Here, I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone.
Oh, please do. I got to see this.
And there's like a couple of pictures too here in the email. But so they were saying like they wanted me to open the show, and rather than like play, one of my tunes or whatever, they had this idea for me to like come up on the stage and play something kind of like in a major key and kind of, but a bit quiet, mellow kind of. And I would start walking down the stage, which is his symbol. And as I would go, I'd have this 50-foot cape on that would be like unfurling as I went, and they were going to project like images of fire and like stars and space and stuff, and I would change the music up to get a more groovy and minor key, uh, and yeah, and then the whole band would like pop up and kick it off, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But yeah, let me see here if I can pull
If you want, Andy, you could send me a screenshot of that, and I could put it on the
Okay.
video. Would that work?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. We'll do that then. But yeah, because
Okay.
that's wild. That's so crazy. I would frame that in my house.
There's like a couple of drawings too, of like with the cape, like with the email too. So yeah, I'll send it to you.
Oh, please do. We would all lose our minds to see that for sure. Um, okay, so a couple questions. First off, so um, what was the vibe like when there's a lot of people who talk about Prince, and I've heard thousands of stories. Um, they talk about how like there's just an aura about him. Did you feel that when you were around him in like just one on one talking in the studio?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely. I don't know. Yeah, that's aura is the perfect word, and it's a bit intimidating. Like to it, there's a bit of a like he was like he could see through you almost. It was really wild. Um, just very like serious in a way. But then sometimes he'd say something that was obviously a joke, but it was so subtle you'd almost miss it. Uh, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, and he was serious with the band too. Like he kind of had a James Brown kind of ethic, where if you mess up, there could be penalties. So I remember, I think the drummer got fined one day because his drum tech messed something up. I was like, holy cow! I asked John. I saw him in the hotel in the lobby in the morning, and he looked all depressed. I was like, "What's up, man?" And he said, "Oh, I got fined last night because my drum tech had the wrong patch on his electronic drum kit." I was like, "Ah." But and I'm not trying to diss Prince with that. I mean, that's just the way he ran his ship, and then the shows were incredible. I mean, everybody was really had to be on their game, and then the shows were really top notch. So.
How were the rehearsals with him? Because what I've heard is that it was the most well-oiled machine in music was whenever whatever band Prince was playing with. Like they rehearsed several hours a day, even on tour. What were those rehearsals like with the band?
Yeah, so I just kind of joined in on a couple of rehearsals, made sure I knew my stuff, and he was, I guess I wasn't really officially a member of the band. I was just kind of a guest, so he didn't have that sort of thing on, but he really wanted me to be at every rehearsal and all that stuff, I guess. But they were all ready to go with anything. There was one night where he had changed the set list like 5 minutes before the show. It was crazy. Like we were under the stage, and then he started handing out this set list, and I was like, "Holy cow! Wow, yeah, these guys got to know every tune and be ready at a moment's notice." So that was pretty hardcore.
And then did he have any influence on what you wore for the? Because I mean, Prince show is so stylish. Did he have, as far as what did you wear for the like walking out on stage and playing? I mean, obviously you didn't. You said you didn't wear the 50-foot cape, but what did you wear? Did you have did you have an outfit for you?
Yeah, well, they actually had a whole wardrobe, for everyone to pick stuff, and it was like tons of outfits, and uh, I've actually always really liked Eastern religion and philosophy. I'm not necessarily a Buddhist, but I like all that stuff, and I like the discipline of martial arts and things like that. So there was actually some really cool sort of Asian sort of outfits, like silk kind of tops and silk pants and things, and really ever since then I've been really into these really sort of tight fisherman pants. I'm always wearing these big baggy pants. That's kind of where I first encountered them. So I picked that up from Jordan Prince. But yeah, so I used to kind of go out on those shows with kind of more of an Asian sort of vibe on the clothes.
That's so crazy. And so, what did you have any other interactions with him besides that initial meeting and playing with him live?
Yeah, yeah. There was always a show after the show. Maybe there was one night where we didn't, but normally, you'd go play some big stadium or arena or whatever, and do that show, and then there would be a show like at a club after, and it would go until like 4 in the morning maybe, and the band would all go and be ready to play more music, and so we ended up doing 3 nights in Sydney, 3 in Melbourne, and 3 in Brisbane, if I remember right. And one of those first shows in Sydney, we went to a club afterward, and he had me do a little solo acoustic set, during that, and just did some of my own stuff, which was a little bit different. It's not like nightclub music really what I do, but people were down with it, especially since Prince vouched for me or whatever. People were like, yeah, but that was pretty cool. Like Keith Urban was there, and Skull, and all these celebrities. Like holy cow, and Flavor Flav was there. Crazy man.
So another thing Prince is known for doing is offering little nuggets of wisdom to artists. If you've seen any of the stuff of the Tales from the Tour Bus videos he's done, where he's talked with artists and given them little pieces of advice, did he instill any wisdom on you on a personal one-to-one level about your music career or your music or anything like that?
Man, I guess not in particular, other than just, he was really adamant that, I should control my music, and, just don't give that up. And you need to have freedom, as an artist, you have to have a sense of freedom. And if you're obligated to someone for something, then that might crush your spirit a bit, or, interfere with your thinking of what you want to do with music. So, maintaining control of what you do and what you have to say was the most important thing. Yeah, and he had actually found me on YouTube. I forgot to mention that earlier. I think you'd asked how he found me. So he saw me on there, and in particular it was my tune Ryland that he liked a lot. So having interactions with him too, other than on stage. There was one night where he had a party up at his room, and so the whole band was there, and then a few other guests and all. And as the night went on, he said that he called me over. He's like, Mr. Mckee, you need to calm these women down. So, why don't you grab your guitar? So I started to play, Ryland and some mellow stuff. And that was when he told me he heard that. And that was how he got into my stuff, was seeing Ryland on YouTube.
Dude, if you don't, I would have the biggest ego in the world if Prince was telling me to play guitar to calm down these women. That's amazing. Well, I don't know how you do it, man.
Me neither. I can't believe half the stuff that's happened, man. It's crazy. So I try not to think about it too much, but yeah, maybe I'd go crazy if I did.
Man, this whole thing with your career is just proof that if you make music and you do something really well that comes from the heart, doors open up, and it's never the one you think. I mean, I can't imagine you being 17 years old thinking, oh, I'm going to open for Prince in Australia one day and have him tell me to calm these women down with with my guitar playing.
Not even, man. Yeah. Couldn't have ever dreamed it. Insane.